Good evening, Top fans. It's Bill from TopFanRivalry here, joining you with some of my friends again. And it's opening week. There is nothing better than opening week baseball. We got Rob Peterson joining us. We got Jackson Westfall and Kyle Chantos joining us. We are going to have some fun tonight, talking a little bit about the game. So tonight we're going to talk about our opening day memories, our favorite memories, maybe our not so favorite memories, and just kind of see where it takes us tonight. So hope all's well. Rob, why don't you start us out and tell us about some of your favorite memories, whether it was at Wrigley or if it was watching it on TV. We'll take it from there.
Well, I have never been to an opening day baseball game. It's something I'd like to do, but going out to Chicago in April does not sound very fun to me. So, but I have watched a lot of games over the years, a lot of opening day games, and the one that immediately came to my mind was the 2016 Cubs opening day. It was actually in California, I think, playing the Angels, I believe. So 2015, of course, we had that breakout year. We had, Chris Bryant, he won Rookie of the Year, and Kyle Schwarber, they went deep into the playoffs, made it to the NLCS, and only to get swept by the New York Mets, who went on to lose to the Royals in the World Series then in 2015. So, we had our hopes really, really set high on the Cubs that year. But it progressed as we went along, right? And so in the postseason, it was awesome. We just kept winning until we lost to the Mets. So the 2016 opening day against the Angels, that was one that I'll always remember, because I remember thinking we ended up winning that game 9-0, and I remember thinking to myself, man, this is just a prelude of things to come for this year. This is pretty exciting. A 9-0 victory. That's a great way to start the season. And a lot of people had the Cubs picked. And so we had the rotation, we had the bats, we had the management. Everything was just kind of falling in place. And if I remember right, like our first 20 games out of 25 or 30, we won 20 out of like 30 or something like that, or 25. So we started off really strong. So that would come to mind, probably first and foremost in my memory.
Sweet. We'll come back to you on the one that you might want to forget in a second. Jackson, tell us about your memory.
I will also go back a couple of years ago. 2018 opening day. It was like my first opening day, not watching a game with my dad present. So I sat down before work and watched the Braves game, and they went down like 5-0 against the Phillies, and then came back and won 8-5 on a Nick Markakis walk-off home run. So it was pretty good. They always play the Phillies to start the season. I don't know why. There's some weird scheduling quirks that the MLB likes to do, but Braves Phillies is pretty much the first game of the season. The Braves, if not like the fourth game of the season. It's odd, but I like it. Beat down on the Phillies early. Get those those nice wins. Start the season off.
Where's the Philly fans when you need them to defend themselves, right?
They'd probably agree.
That's probably true. Kyle, what do you remember? What's your opening day?
As a Reds fan, I think two jump out at me. I think 2019, and Bill, you'll like this one, was when Yasiel Puig was on the Reds, and there was a lot of excitement around that team. Definitely did not end that way, but it started that way. And then maybe I think it was in 15 or 16, the Reds started out. They got down, I think it was about 6 runs on opening day. There was a rain delay, and then they ended up coming back and winning on a walk-off grand slam. I don't remember the exact year, but I'd say it was about 5 or 6 years ago. But those two jump out in recent memory as some of the best opening day games for sure for me.
So that That's awesome. So I'm going to take you guys back even further. So for me, I've always worked really hard in March to be able to take opening day off. And April 1st of 2013, I was working for a company and I had just landed this really big client. And my boss said a couple of weeks before him, he said, let me take you out to dinner. And I said, nah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take half of the day off on opening day. So he's an Angel fan, quasi Dodger fan. We go to a buddy of mine's restaurant. It's kind of a sports bar restaurant thing. And he's a huge Giants fan. Dodgers are playing the Giants. So April 1st, 2013, Clayton Kershaw's pitching, and he's pitching a shutout. And so against, I think, Mad Bum. I believe it was Mad Bum that he was pitching against. And so in the 8th inning, my buddy walks by and goes, yeah, they're going to pinch hit for Kershaw. He's up first. And I said, Kershaw's going to come up and get a home run. He does. Second pitch, he hits it over the center field wall. The Dodgers win 1-0. I'm like, best opening day ever. This guy was this friend of mine's like 5'4". He's a little Irish guy, and he was like, he put together a string of words that would have made a sailor go, oh my gosh. It was hilarious. And then my boss is like, you're like Bill O'Donis. Like, tell me what else is going to happen. That's all I got for you. Kershaw hitting a home run. That's all I got. So ever since that, I've made sure that I've taken the day off on, and this week's no different. I mean, I've got 1 or 2 things I'm going to wrap up in the morning, but on my schedule, it says opening day. Usually I put what city I'm in. It says opening day anywhere. Bye-bye, leave me alone. Just so that people know right away what to expect from me today. So anyways, that's awesome. Pete, tell me about an opening day that you wish that you could forget.
Man, this is a hard one because honestly, win or lose, it's like one of my favorite days of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, regardless of whether or not the Cubs win. I'm so excited about, growing up as a Cubs fan before 2016. That very first game, whether it was home or away, it was a new slate. It was a clean slate, brand new season. And this year was always the year as a Cubs fan. It always wasn't a year for a Cubs fan, but that's what we would always tell ourselves. I'm trying to think back to anything specific, and it's hard. The only thing that I can think of is the 2015 season. So just the great anticipation of having Chris Bryant. I was following him through the ranks in the minors when right after we drafted him, just kind of very, very interested in what his progression was looking like. And so there was a lot of hoopla. We actually went to spring training that year as well and watched him a little bit. But there was a lot of excitement around this Chris Bryant kid coming up to the majors. And so there was a lot of, he was held back, for a week or so. And that was so the Cubs could garner another year on the rights to have him. But I remember his opening game. It was about a week later, and it was at Wrigley Field. And I remember just being so excited about watching that. He ended up striking out 4 times in that game, and we're like, oh man, this would have been a great opportunity for him to really, really showcase his stuff. But he ended up doing okay after that year. He won Rookie of the Year. The next year, he won the MVP, and he's had a great career so far. But
he has, and just because this is Kyle's first time getting to know you a little bit, Pete, what do you do on a specific day in October every year?
It's actually not October, it's November 2nd.
Oh, November 2nd. What do you do on November 2nd every year?
So Kyle, on November 2nd of every year, we I've got 3 boys and a little girl. My oldest boy is a senior in high school. And so when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, we ran outside and took some Martinellis and shook it all up and sprayed each other. And, my boys are just drinking the whole thing down. But every year after that, since then, we November 2nd, we make a big deal about, it's National Chicago Cubs World Series Championship Day in our house. And we watch game and then afterward, and we're eating wings and whatever finger foods you put your hands on, and then when they win the series, we go running out like it happened yesterday, and we just start spraying each other. It's a lot of fun.
It's almost as good as Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I would like to have a Bobby Bonilla Day for myself.
What do we all? Just give me one Bobby Bonilla Day.
I know.
When I told Amber about Bobby Bonilla Day, because the MLB channel was on one day, and Amber goes, "What are they talking about? Who's Bobby Bonilla?" So I told her the story, and she goes, "What? They pay him $1 million every year?" And I said, "Welcome to baseball." And she goes, "Can you still play?" Like, no, not anymore. That was 20 years ago, sweetheart. Oh man, Jackson, tell us about the opening day that you might want to forget.
You know what? I think I've already forgot. That's the thing. I was racking my brains. I'm like, when's the last time I watched an opening day game where I was like, this is dismal and horrible? And all I could think of wasn't even my team. Growing up in Southern California, the Angels are on TV, and watching the Angels on opening day most every year is kind of depressing because they'll start out great for the first 4 innings, and then the starter gets rocked a bit, and then the bullpen comes in and they lose to Seattle like 9-4 on opening day, and you're like, here we go again.
Oh man, and John Hendrickson's not here to
Probably
defend
just
the
a-
Angels.
He'd probably
Man.
agree with me too.
Probably. Kyle, what about you?
I think it just as, baseball fans in general last year, like we all got cheated so much out of opening day last year. And especially being a Reds fan, they always have the parade and they shut the city down and everything like that. So last year is one for sure that comes to mind, obviously. But 2013 was a tough one as well. That was the Reds had won the kind of some back-to-back divisions, series is there in 10 and 11 and were competitive as well. Then lost to the Giants after being up 2-0 on the Buster Posey grand slam. So coming back on 2013 opening day after they got rid of all their talent was another tough one to remember too.
Well, believe it or not, mine has to do actually with going to Dodger Stadium. So a couple of my buddies had told me, they said, "Hey, we're gonna get tickets to go, opening day." And I thought, I've never done this. Let's do it. It's gonna be awesome. Fellas, if you have a chance to go to Dodger Stadium on opening day, don't do it. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. Because like the Braves always start with the Phillies, when the Dodgers are at home for opening day, it's usually a 1:30 game. So pre-COVID, it's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive just to get there. Then my buddy who bought the tickets, there's a side of the stadium when the sun sets that you're just melting. I don't care who you are just melting. And so my buddy didn't think it all the way through, and we're sitting on that side of the stadium. So by like the 4th inning, 5th inning, we were just melting because the sun was in our eyes. It was a miserable drive up. It took us over 2 hours to get there. It took us almost 3 hours to get home because by the time we got out of the stadium and because there's only 2 ways on and 2 ways off at Dodger Stadium. So by the time we got off and got onto the 110, we were in downtown LA traffic for everybody getting off, work. And so it took us almost 3 hours to get home. The Dodgers did win, but I lost 30 pounds just sitting there that day, just sweating it out. And then a 3-hour drive home. I'm like, you know what? I can stay in my pajamas all day long with my Dodger shirt on, my Dodger socks, my Dodger hat. I don't need to be in the stadium. So, and Amber asked me, she goes, "Do you want to go to the stadium this year?" And I'm like, nope. I have done that, check. done. We are done. So Angel Stadium's a lot different because it's not packed. You can get out a lot of different ways. Angels fans usually leave by the fourth inning anyways, because they're Orange County fans. And so fifth inning if they're really like trying to push it. And so you can enjoy a game at Anaheim Stadium, but the Dodgers never open up at Anaheim Stadium. So yeah, anyways. So I'm looking at the schedule. I was looking at the schedule. You're right. Jackson, you guys start with the Phillies in Philly. Kyle, you guys start at home against the Cardinals. So you guys have a little bit of a series there opening up.
Yep, we'll lose 2 out of 3. It'll be a great start to the year.
And Pete, you start with the Pirates, so you better go 3-0 there.
I hope so.
And we start with the Rockies. So if we don't go 3-0 against the Rockies in Denver, all right. So as we wrap up, tell me what you're looking for this season. Tell me what, besides for World Series championship, because we already know who's going to win that.
It's the Pirates, obviously.
Yeah. Hey, Jackson. Tell me what you're looking forward to the most this season, besides 162 games and fans in the stands. What are you looking forward to the most with this season? And what's Thursday look like for you? Pete, what are you looking forward to most?
For me, it's we've had some turnover on our roster, and we've also picked up a guy by the name of Jock Peterson,
who's tearing the ball up right now.
Who is exciting. There were a lot of the Cubs last year, although we won the Central in a shortened year. Most of them had pretty bad years. I mean, a pretty bad year. I think Javi was batting under 200. Willie was right there. Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, those guys are right around the 200 mark. It was a tough year. And so I think for me, I don't have really high expectations, but watching them play this year during spring training, I'm pretty optimistic about them putting up a fight in a fairly, the Central Division isn't as strong as it typically is, it feels like. So I think that it's anybody's game, even with the addition of Arenado to the Cardinals. I still don't think it's a runaway. I think Cincinnati can be dangerous. I think, Milwaukee will be in there, and then the Cubs. So we'll see. I'm just optimistic about another fun season. I'm excited about 162 games being played this year, and looking forward to just watching some good baseball with no expectations, really.
Pete, did you see the thing they were showing on MLB the other day? Rizzo is like on deck and Peterson's up, and he's like, here, and he's got a mic, and he goes, yeah, he's gonna, if he doesn't throw a fastball, he's gonna tattoo it. And then Jock goes yard, and Rizzo's like, that's my boy. That's
yeah. And he said, Jacques heard me say that. I said, you guys heard that, fellas. You heard that.
Yeah. It was funny. Like, Rizzo's having too much good time. All right, Jackson, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the story for the Braves every season when they're good, proving that Atlanta is a good team. Everyone's talking about the Mets in the East. Everyone's talking about how good the Padres have become, how good the Dodgers are. But the Braves were one game away from the World Series, and I think they're just as good as the Dodgers. So I feel it as a Braves fan. I feel insulted every year that they always manage to, slide a couple teams ahead of them, just because of the big markets, the flashy trades or whatever. I think the Braves will show up and be consistent. That's all they need to do. I'm excited to see Ronald Acuna maybe go 40-40. That'd be fun.
And the Braves would have beat the Dodgers last year, by the way.
That's it. That's it.
Go with the Reds.
I'm fighting words, but you're right, Jackson. The Braves get overlooked, just like Toronto has made some great trades and great pickups, and nobody's talking about them. I'm talking about the Red Sox and the Yankees. That's that entire division there. We know that Baltimore's going to lose 127 games, kind of a given, right? And so now, but they're not talking about the Braves in the East. They're talking about the Mets because it's a big market team, right?
They're also talking about the Phillies, how the Phillies haven't made the playoffs. I'm like, they're still not going to make the playoffs. The Phillies aren't that good.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not. They've got one or two bats on there. They still need to find pitching. Show me the pitching, right? So, Kyle, what are you looking forward to this year?
I'm looking forward to the Reds not having the worst offense ever again this year. So,
That was rough last year.
but hopefully building off of their, incredible 2 straight game, extra inning, no run performance in the playoffs. So no, but hopefully, this team, they have some, not in a sprint like it was last year. They have a shot to be dangerous if they can put the ball in play. It's just that's going to be the big if. But for the first time in a while, they've got good players and they've kind of got some expectations there. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it over the course of the year.
You have no animosity over the playoffs last year, huh?
Yeah, just like one run, like one stinking run, but
Kyle and I were texting during.
Hey, those
one of
games
the
were
games.
they were
exciting.
unbelievable. They were unbelievable games. They were awesome. That was like, those were for the people that are always like, well, we have to see home runs in order for baseball to be exciting. Like those games proved it, completely wrong. Like those were intense games. Every at bat mattered. It was really cool.
So Kyle and I
was
were
watching
texting.
it on my phone at work, just freaking out.
Yeah, I was texting Bill, like we were both trying to work, and then it's just like I can't do anything. I have to watch this.
Yeah, Jackson at one point they had like second and third and 1 out or something like that early in the game with Trevor Bauer on the hill, and I'm like, oh, okay. And somehow or another they ground into some random double play or strike out and fly out or something.
Yeah.
It was just brutal. Baseball does have a little bit of an element of luck.
Yeah.
Oof.
So,
the stats for runners in scoring position that game
They
were
pretty bad,
atrocious.
for both teams.
Yeah.
For both
For
teams.
both teams, yeah.
But if you are, let's be honest. So Pete and I can say this. You two can't because we had no skin in the game. But if you're a true baseball enthusiast, that's a great game to watch, right? If it's your team, it sucks. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But that was a great game to watch. Those were great games. Pete, tell me I'm wrong. Those were great games to watch last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Yeah. So
Except
it's good.
we lost.
Hey, we were just happy to be
man.
there after that long.
So I work with a guy who is in his mid 70s, and Kyle knows him, and he's from Indiana, and he loves Hoosier basketball, and he hates Michigan State stuff. And so for obvious reasons, right? He loves Larry Bird, hates Magic Johnson. Like still, and this guy's in the 70s. And so he walks in my office and I said, he walks in my office on Friday and he said, you know what is significant about today? He says, what's that? And I said, the long national nightmare is over. And he's thinking and he says, his favorite line is, oh. And so he says, oh, what are you talking about? I said, this is the last time in 7 months that we won't have baseball on Friday. The long national nightmare is over. And he goes, oh, and he walks out of my office like it's not a big deal. Doesn't he understand? This is exciting times. Anyways, the thing that I'm excited about, and I'm also nervous about, is the same thing. I'm excited to be able to go into places and, you hear things like the world champion, whoever. This year it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. But I think we also have a bullseye on our backs because we have such a good pitching staff and such good pop that I think people are expecting us to go 162-0. And it's just not going to happen. And there is going to be some time in the season where the Dodgers are going to put together a losing streak of 7 or 8. and people are going to lose their minds and, oh, are the Dodgers falling apart? And I'm not looking forward to that, but I am looking forward to being able to be called world champs. It's been a while. And so I can remember the Gibson home run very, very well. I can tell you right where I was at and how much trouble I got in when I had my little dinner on my little TV tray and Gibson hit the home run and I stood up and Coke went flying everywhere. My dinner went flying everywhere because I knocked over everything after he hit the home run. How long I got grounded for, I can remember all that. There's certain things you're willing to take one for the team.
I just watched that game last week. I watched that game and just hearing Vince Scully, man, that was an incredible at bat.
So that company that I worked for, that the boss took me out. So we got a new phone system in 2012, and Pete, you'll love this. So we got a new phone system in 2012, and they said, set your ringtone so we know, like, when somebody's phone is ringing in the office, whose phone it is. My ringtone was Vince Scully. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. And so every time it would ring, in a year that has been so improbable, the CEO walks by and he goes, I didn't mean that. And I said, you said anything. You said anything. I supplied anything. So we got to change it. And I'm like, no, we don't. We really don't. So anyways, Top Fans, we sure appreciate you being on and following this. Feel free to give it a like down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's gonna be a lot of fun stuff happening going forward in the future. I want to thank my friends Kyle and Rob and Jackson for being on tonight. Had a great talk about opening day, and I am so looking forward to Thursday. And for those of you Top Fans that I work with or that are family or anything like that, please understand that this Thursday, God love you, but don't bother me. I'm busy. Okay, that's the way it's got to be. Have a good night, all.